Hungry? We're back at it again with that 2009 camcorder. And we got a green screen. Initially I was hanging it up with some duct tape. That did not work out where I was on a timer all the time. It's still very scuffed. It's not good. It's not looking that good right now. So Minesweeper is a single-player puzzle game where you are tasked with the objective of finding all the mines by clicking on all these tiles and flagging those mines. It's pretty simple, really. The game's graphics are also pretty simple, just like the gameplay itself. In the 1990s version of Minesweeper, you have a window comprised of a little smiling guy, a grid of squares called cells ranging from the size of whatever difficulty you chose, from beginner to expert, a counter in the top left of how many flags you have left, and a timer in the top right saying how long you're taking to solve the puzzle. You know what Minesweeper is now? Good. Let's get into the details. We're not going to start out with Minesweeper though. We're going to talk about a different game that came out in 1978 titled Cube. Cube was a text-only terminal game believed to be the earliest known relative to Minesweeper. It was developed by Jeremiah Ratliff, where your goal is to reach the other side of a cube labeled 333 while you start at 111. You traverse the squares in the cube's corners by typing in a location adjacent to the corner that you are currently at, like 121 or 131 or 133, all the way until you reach 333. But this ain't no leisurely walk to the other side of the cube. There's going to be 5 mines randomly placed around the cube. Along with that, you're allowed to wager any amount of money from your starting balance being $500. That's right, this is a cold hard gambler's game, not made for the lighthearted. Go back to your little colorful Rubik's Cube, you child. Cube inspired an interesting new puzzle style, which was followed by games titled Mind Out or Yomp. Yeah, I've never heard of either of those either. What even is a Yomp? Oh, okay, cool. Oh. So it's Frogger. Awesome. Alright, moving on. A true successor to Cube was made in 1985 by Conway, Hong, and Smith titled Relentless Logic. Booting up Relentless Logic, you are met with a screen explaining the treacheries a villain named Ganon has committed against the Triforce and... I'm just kidding. A classic chiptune recreation of pictures at an exhibition promenade is what greets your ears as you open the game. Following the theme, you are asked if you would like to read the instructions. Upon saying yes, you are greeted with a screen displaying the story of the game. Summing up the story, you are private with some very important information you need to deliver to the US Command Center while the communications are down. You must cross a minefield with only a mine detector and logic, with the future of the United States resting in your palms. That's a pretty daunting task for just about anyone. I feel like there had to have been a safer way to relay some information than sending a little private through a minefield with the looming danger of getting your legs exploded off, but I digress. You're then given the instructions of how to play, followed by how many mines you want on the field, and then finally, the game itself. This is you. As you move around with numbers 1 through 9, discluding 5, you make your path through the minefield to the other corner of the board. Now, obviously, the game wasn't perfect. Numerous times mines would cut off any sort of way to the command center, leaving your private to die an inevitable death in the minefield, with all hope of America dying with him. Now, Relentless Logic bared many similarities compared to the Minesweeper that we all know and love, but it still had quite a few differences, like the inability to mark where mines were, or be given a score. But it was still agreed that this game was probably one of the more major inspirations for Minesweeper. After Relentless Logic was released, so were a couple of clones. A few include X-Mines, which is more similar to Minesweeper now than anything, and another called Landmine, which is pretty much Relentless Logic except every game can actually be one. Now all of these games finally led up to the game whose name is known by just about everybody you say the name to, Minesweeper.
He's probably the best in the world. He is my friend.
I love you. I love you. I love you.
Minesweeper originally came in a game pack by the name Microsoft Entertainment Pack, carrying games like Cruel, Golf, and Pegged. Yes, Pegged, a form of Peg Solitaire. You also got Tetris, Idlewild, Tic Tactics, Tepe, and of course, Minesweeper. Hope I pronounced those games right. One of the developers, Kurt Johnson, who worked for Microsoft, was originally hired as just a debugger for OS/2 for IBM to maintain a debugger program. Kurt would later write a game he called PM Mine, pretty similar to Relentless Logic. He would go on to share the source code of his game with Robert Donner. Robert would then forge what he called a simple game with the purpose of learning more about programming for Windows. This is what he called PM Mine 2, crediting Johnson for original programming and himself for additional programming. And now moving on, Windows 3.0 was released 22nd of May of 1990. Here, Donner proceeded to rewrite the game as WinMine, or as many others know it, Minesweeper. Also, apparently, Bill Gates was such a dedicated and addicted gamer to Minesweeper that he started streaming his speedruns on Twitch, until he eventually got bored, deleted the game from his computer, and moved on to what he called his true passion in life, Call of Duty commentaries. Anyway, with Minesweeper becoming standard in Windows 3.1 of 1992, it started gaining an extreme amount of popularity, and was started to be known as one of the most iconic games of all time. It was after this that Minesweeper remained in every Windows version, often receiving minor updates like more menus, small changes in icons or graphics, up until its new release in 2007 of Windows Vista. It pretty much remained identical to this Vista version up until Windows 8, when it now had to be downloaded from the App Store. Since its migration to the App Store, it underwent even more changes, like new graphics, new sound effects. It was basically an RTX on type beat for Minesweeper. There's also like new modes or something now. Guide your brave hero to the center of the earth collecting riches. Okay. Also, Google has its own Minesweeper now. I'm not really sure when they released it, but me and my friends really enjoy the sound effects in this game. Let's wrap this up. Okay, so just speaking from the top of my mind, I really enjoy Minesweeper. I think it's really fun, very simple premise. Anyone could play it if you just, learn the basics, which won't take long. Other than that, the punishment for losing is pretty infuriating, especially when you've gotten very far, but I guess that's just how the game works. But all in all, thanks devs. You've truly created a timeless masterpiece. You know what? I just thought of something. Let's throw in some bonus footage. Right click the bottom one. Right click the bottom one. And wait. You got that one wrong? I trusted you.
The chosen one, Anakin.
Brian, the one in the bottom right is clear, trust me. Don't go. 18
Oh, I was so close and I misclicked.
5?
Matt. I'm not Matt. Apollo.
I misclicked. I was trying to right click the flag and I left clicked.
Oh my gosh. Man is deflating. Matt?
This thing?
Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
Little thing, man.
That should be fine.
I think when Brandon moves around, you just kind of hear Minecraft skeleton sounds.
That should be fine.
That's so oddly specific.
Why are you praying on my downfall, bro?
Brandon comes shredding out of his room, just hear as he goes and gets a snack from the pantry.
I fooled up once.
Fool me once, shame on you.
Only twice, shame on you.
Fool me 3 times.
Shame on you. Oh, Lord, okay.
Fool me 3 times. Let's walk out.
What?
Whoa.
What?
Never heard that addendum before.
That's accurate.
You're not even playing solitaire.
He's playing solitaire.
Huh?
He's playing
playing
He
solitaire.
is playing solitaire.
Man, you got him all messed up.
That's not Minesweeper. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Half Baked.